All right, let's tackle a huge question that I think a lot of people curious about web development get stuck on. We see these amazing interactive websites built with front-end code. So why do we even need a backend? Why can't the front end just do everything? Let's get right into it.
I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. Modern JavaScript is a powerhouse. It can build these incredible user interfaces, it can handle super complex logic, and it responds to instantly. So why can't we just point it at a database and call it a day? Well, the answer isn't really about power. It's about the fundamental way the web is designed. So to crack this mystery, our very first clue lies in understanding where front-end code actually lives. It's not out there on some big, powerful server in the cloud. Nope, it's much, much closer to home.
That's right. When you go to a website, all that code, the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript, it gets sent from the server directly to your computer. Your browser downloads it and runs it locally, right there on your laptop or your phone. And this is probably the single most important concept to wrap your head around. Front-end code executes on the user's machine, not the company's server.
And because that code is basically a guest running on your computer, browsers have to be incredibly careful. I mean, they can't just let code from any old website have free reign over your personal device, right? This brings us to the next critical piece of our puzzle, the browser's security model.
To keep you safe, the browser does something really smart. It runs all that JavaScript inside what we call a sandbox. You can think of it like a secure, padded-walled playground. The code can run around and do whatever it wants inside that playground, but there are super strict rules about what it can't do, especially when it tries to reach for things outside of the playground.
And these rules, they are absolute, non-negotiable. From inside that sandbox, JavaScript is totally blocked from, say, looking at your personal files, messing with your operating system, or reading any kind of sensitive system-level data. For your own safety, it is locked out of all the important stuff on your computer.
Of course, it's not completely useless. It can interact with the web page you're currently looking at. It can use the browser's own local storage system to save some data, and it can work with cookies. But notice, all of these actions are kept safely within the little world of the browser itself.
And thank goodness for these rules, right? Just imagine for a second if they didn't exist. Visiting a new website would be like walking through a minefield. Any site could be malicious, just waiting to copy your private info the second the page loads. So this security-first approach is absolutely vital for a trustworthy internet.
And there's another key security layer here, something called CORS, or Cross-Origin Resource Sharing. This policy basically stops code running on, say, mycoolsite.com from just making random requests to your bank's website or some other service. The bank's server has to give explicit permission first. It's just one more example of how the front end isn't trusted to just roam the web freely.
Okay, so what have we figured out? The front end is locked in this very secure but very limiting sandbox. It can't be trusted with sensitive data or powerful access. And that is exactly why the back end is so critical. It's the trusted agent that gets to operate outside of that sandbox.
And here's the bottom line. Literally anyone, you, me, anybody, can open up their browser's developer tools and read every single line of a website's front-end JavaScript. So you could never put a secret API key or a database password in there. But the backend? That runs on a private, secure server. It's the perfect, safe place to store and use all those secrets, completely hidden from the user.
But hey, it's not just about security. There's also the issue of power and, well, consistency. If you try to run really heavy, complex logic on the front end, the user's experience becomes a total gamble. It might be lightning fast on a new gaming PC, but it could grind to a halt on an older phone. You just can't guarantee a good experience for everyone.
And this all leads us to maybe one of the most important jobs a backend has, a job that the front end is just completely, utterly incapable of doing on its own, managing the database.
Okay, let's paint a picture. Let's say your app is a huge hit. At any given moment, you might have 10,000 people all using it at the exact same time. Now, if the front end was in charge of getting data, that would mean 10,000 different devices all trying to talk to your database at once.
So what happens? What do you think happens when 10,000 different browsers all try to knock on the database's door at the same time? Well, the result is pretty simple. Catastrophic failure. Databases just aren't built to handle that many direct connections from the open internet. The whole system would get overwhelmed and crash almost instantly. It's just not a scalable model.
This is where the backend swoops in and acts like a brilliant, super efficient gatekeeper. It uses a technique called connection pooling, where it opens just a small, manageable number of connections to the database and keeps them ready to go. When a user needs data, the backend just grabs one of these open connections,
gets the data, and puts the connection right back in the pool for the next person. It's incredibly efficient, and it stops the database from ever getting overwhelmed. So when you start putting all these pieces together, the security, the secrets, the performance, the scalability, the reason we need both front-end and back-end becomes crystal clear.
So let's just lay it all out one last time. The front end, it lives in the user's browser. It's sandboxed for security, it can't handle secrets, and its performance is at the mercy of the user's device. The back end, on the other hand, runs on a secure server with full access, it manages all the secrets, it guards the database, and it provides centralized, scalable power for every single user.
When it comes down to it, they have completely different jobs and they're both absolutely essential. You just can't have one without the other in any serious application. Think of it this way. The front end is the beautiful interactive face of the application, while the back end is the powerful, secure brain that actually makes it all work.
So you see, it's never a question of which one is better. They are two essential halves of a whole, an unavoidable partnership that's designed to create the powerful and secure web apps we use every single day. So now that you know the why, the next question is, how do they actually talk to each other? Well, that's a story for another time.